Today we're going to be taking a look at a Bluetooth headphone that comes from a company that is well known to manufacture high-end speakers. That company name is Dali. What's cracking, everyone? My name is Ryan, and today we're taking a look at the Dali IO-12. Now, this is a high-end Bluetooth and wired headphone from Dali, and it retails in at $1,300. And before I get into this, I do want to send a big thank you out to Audio 46, who did provide me with the IO-12 in exchange for all of my thoughts and all of my opinions. By the way, guys, please do check out Audio 46 online. They have a plethora of audio products available, as well as a storefront right in Times Square, New York on 46th Street. Now, to get back to the IO-12, let's take a high-level overview of all of the features of this headphone. All right, so first of all, the color of this is dark chocolate, and I think it's aptly named because there's a delicacy to dark chocolate. There's a luxurious feel and vibe to this headphone, so it is a hi-fi sound with a world-first driver. Now, that's straight from Dali, not what I'm telling you, but I'm going to get into that driver here in a bit. It's wired or wireless modes. Now, the wireless is Bluetooth 5.2. Now, the codecs on the Bluetooth is AAC, aptX, aptX Adaptive, and their own aptX HD. This does have ANC and transparency mode, hands-free calling, and voice assist modes. The battery on this will last up to 35 hours on a 1.5 hour charge time. Now, let's talk about that world-first driver here for a minute. Really quick, if I could grab your attention, don't forget to like the videos and subscribe to the channel and help me get to 5,000 subscribers by the end of the year. And I also have a Patreon if you'd like to join me and support the channel through that. I would highly appreciate that, guys, and I will let you get back to the video. So this is a 50mm SMC driver that was taken directly from their Dali Core series of high-end flagship speakers. Now, we're talking upwards of $10,000 plus speaker line, and they've been able to put that into a headphone, which is why they call this a world first. Now, what does the SMC stand for? It stands for soft magnetic composite. There is no iron at all inside the magnets of this driver. Basically, it means it won't have any kind of conductivity to it either. Now, I could go on and on about this, but I highly recommend that you just check it out for yourself online through Dali's site to understand really what they have put into this driver, but it's supposed to lower the harmonic distortion overall and obviously give you that hi-fi sound that we're talking about. Now, let's go ahead and take a look at what you get inside the box and talk about the build and comfort of the headphone. All right, upon unboxing the Dali, you're gonna notice that you will get a 1.2 meter USB-C to USB-A cable. Now, this is for charging and for USB audio as well. You're gonna get a 1.2 meter 3.5, they call it a mini jack cable. It's a 3.5, as well as a 3 meter 3.5 cable. And hang on, I gotta stop a second and just talk about this cable. I mean, I'm sorry, but I'm just gonna say it. It is a jank cable. I had a lot of frustrations using it, and so I used the shorter version of this because that was much easier to handle. All right, move on from the cable. There's also a 3.5 to 6.3 adapter, and there's also an airplane adapter for when you're traveling, as well as a luxurious travel case. And yeah, I'm okay with calling it a luxurious travel case. This is probably about maybe 4 inches of thickness. It's zippered. It's got that nice Dali logo on this leather portion of it here. This is going to fit really nice into a suitcase or even a bag, something like that. And the headphone folds flat when it goes in here, and you hold all of your accessories right inside the case. Now, taking a look at the build and comfort of the headphone, it mostly consists of leather, hard plastic, and metal materials. Now, the leather is going to be on the headband itself. This is a nice leather, I gotta say, on the outside. The underneath of this, however, is a rubbery type texture to it, and it's pretty thin, to be perfectly honest, but you know, there is at least some cushion there. And then underneath the headband is that metal that I'm talking about. The adjustment on that is really smooth in and out, and it stays in place very well. Now, the pads on this, these are very soft, cushiony, comfortable leather pads. It's kind of like sitting on a luxurious leather sofa, to be honest. That's kind of the way I describe the leather pads, and they're like this rectangle shape with space that is plenty big for bigger ears such as myself. Now the outside of the cups, first of all, in the right cup, that's where you're gonna have most of your functionality, buttons, things like that. This is a harder plastic type material on there, and there's some tactile feel to the cup there to let you know when you're pressing it. Now the left cup has the 3.5 input for when you want to do an analog passive mode, and that is also a plastic material. Now the pads are removable, so if you want to clean them, it's simply just a twist and pull. It is very easy to do. You're going to notice this thin material here separating the pads from the driver, and then we can take a look at that driver there as well when you take the pads off, but then putting them on is very simple to put them back on as well. Now, comfort-wise, these do have some tilt to them. They've definitely got full swivel so that you can lay them flat when you're putting them in the case, or just laying them flat in general. But comfort-wise, they are pretty comfortable on the head, I gotta say. Now, this thin band up top here does get a little bit uncomfortable at first, but I found myself getting used to it pretty quick. And I gotta say, this headphone is really made for bigger heads. If you have a small, skinny head, I worry that this may be a little bit too big for you, because I barely have to adjust this headphone and I don't exactly have a small head. Aesthetically, well, let's just say I wouldn't take these to the gym. These are a luxurious type headphone, and they have that audiophile look to them. Audiophile look, in my opinion, just means that it's not always going to be the fanciest looking thing. But as I said, you know, these are going to turn some heads, maybe not always in the right way, but yeah, I mean, this just has that luxury look and feel to them, in my opinion, and it's going to be very hit and miss on what somebody thinks about the aesthetic. So now, with all that being said, guys, let's talk about the functions that we get on the cups here next. All right, I'll take you through this really fast here. The first thing, the left button here is going to be your EQ mode. Now, there is a hi-fi or bass mode that you can use for the EQ. The next one is your power button, also your Bluetooth pairing button or Bluetooth release button. Then you're gonna see a couple of LEDs there on the right cup, and that is to tell you the charge status, but also to tell you the Bluetooth, whether it is connected or not. There is a reset pin switch here. Basically, you just put a paper clip or something like that. That will reset the headphone. And then the USB-C plug-in is what we see next. Now that is to charge, but also to use this for USB-C audio. And then you're gonna notice another button for the ANC. Now that is to turn on the ANC, to turn on the transparency mode, or to just turn it off completely and go straight up closed back headphone style, which is what this headphone is. Now then, if you look at the right side of the cup on the bigger portion where the Dali logo is, that is tappable actually, and you can kind of feel the tactile when you press in on it. Now that is to play, pause tracks, that is also to skip tracks, that is also to use your communication options and your voice assist options. But then if you look right above and below, there is another ring there that is to adjust your volume up or down. Now, one thing I have noticed with this, it is very easy to accidentally tap the center of the cup when you're trying to adjust the volume. I can't tell you how many times I've accidentally paused my music or maybe even skipped it when I'm just trying to do the volume. So a little bit of an annoyance, but once you get used to it, it's honestly not too bad. All right, now I'm gonna take this outside so I can tell you all about the communication sound quality and the quality of the ANC and transparency modes next.
Okay. ANC, it's okay. Actually sounds better almost sometimes with it just turned off. Transparency mode's pretty clear. I'm pretty satisfied with that mode as well. But not the most deadening ANC, but it's sufficient.
All right, and so you probably have noticed throughout this video that I have not mentioned the app. Well, that's because there's not an app. I am perfectly happy not to worry about installing yet another app for another device. But let's talk about the sound of the IO-12. The internal amp and DAC on this headphone utilize the EQ button of hi-fi and bass mode. If you plug this in passively, which passively is the headphone turned off and plugged in analog to any kind of headphone amp or DAC, I mean, you can do that, that's fine, but in my opinion, you're not unlocking everything that they put into the device. So I want to talk to you about everything they put into the device when I talk about sound, starting with the bass response first. All right, I want to talk to you about the hi-fi mode first and tell you that the bass response of this headphone is pretty linear and pretty neutral. And I do think there's some roll off into the sub bass. When I listen to, you know, the track I always listen to, which is Why So Serious off the Dark Knight soundtrack, that 330 mark when you should feel that big rumble of sub bass coming through. No, I don't get any kind of felt rumble or anything. It's almost like a whisper. You can tell it's there. There's some airiness to that bass there, but not a lot of it felt. But when you engage the bass mode, it doesn't really change it. So that tells me the bass mode is not into the sub bass, it's more into the mid and upper bass. And there's another track that really showcases this, and that is called Black Ice featuring Phantogram. Now, this particular track at the 115 mark has some bass that has some slam to it. And when you engage that bass mode, you get some serious slam to that track. Now, if you have the hi-fi mode turned on, it's just not quite as dynamic. It's not quite as punchy, and you're not going to get that impact quite as much. But it is that kind of hi-fi sound that it has enough bass to kind of fill in the low end. So when you're listening to, some typical audiophile type tracks, it's pleasant. And there's not a ton of body, but it's enough. And then that bass mode, as I said, is going to add the boom. It's going to drop the boom is really what it's going to do. So electronic music, hip hop, and things like that you really want some of that mid bass, just boominess, that's when I recommend engaging that bass mode. One other thing I found very interesting about this headphone is when you turn on the ANC, it does add some of that sub bass rumble, but not quite in the way I think it's intended to, because it's doing that ANC low cut. And so, I don't think that's the correct way really to listen to the bass rumble. But if you want to, try it out and see for yourself. Now, I don't want to sound all cliche when I say that mids are very hi-fi on this headphone, but they really are hi-fi with hi-fi mode, in that you get a lot of resolution to your mid-range when you're using that hi-fi mode. I was very impressed, to be honest, with the mid-range quality, because this is a closed back headphone. Again, that's why I'm saying utilize the DAC and amp within this and the EQ within this to really unlock what this headphone can do. Now, to give you a track example, there's another one I like to sample for mid-range quite often. That is Break by Santana featuring Brooke. Now, her vocals in this track are beautiful on this headphone and have so much breath and air, and the reverb and everything just bounces off the walls and just engulfs me into the track on this headphone in hi-fi mode. And then when Santana comes in with his solos of his guitars, they kind of trade blows, and his guitar just has that same fullness and that same little bit of crispiness to it, but also just airiness as well. Saxophone instruments and things like that sound excellent in my opinion on this headphone. So I think if you're somebody really into classical audiophile type music, you're gonna love hi-fi mode, because it doesn't just have a ton of bass down low. Now, what I'll tell you, to give you kind of an example of what bass mode does, like if this is our graph here, okay? Big graph guy here, I know. But if this is our graph here, and this is your natural frequency response, when you engage bass mode, it basically kind of does this to the graph, or this to the frequency response. It takes that upper mid-range and that treble and just kind of tilts it down a little bit. So what I'm kind of telling you there is that vocalists and things like that just won't have as much breath and airiness to them. You'll still get a good sense of a vocalist. I definitely noticed that. But on hip hop tracks and things that I listen to with bass mode engaged, there are some lyricists that really can be sibilants with their S's and T's, that are pronunciation, is really sharp. And that kind of takes that down a notch. But then what I think it'll do when you're listening to very vocal focused tracks, it's going to kind of take off that top end. Now, what I will tell you with bass mode, what I like about it is when I listen to some metal and some hard rock music that have a lot of bass guitar, bands that utilize that a lot, that adds a lot of gusto and oomph to bass guitars and makes that very lively and engaging, as long as you're okay with that top end being kind of lopped off a little bit. Now let's finish this off. I do want to talk to you about the treble that you're probably already kind of getting an idea of. Now, if you haven't guessed it already, there's a lot of airiness to the treble here, but it is not bright. Now, I will tell you that in my age and years that I am, I probably don't hear over 14 kilohertz very well anymore at this rate. So I can tell you that to my ears anyway, I don't find this to be a bright headphone, even with hi-fi mode engaged. It gets right to the edge for me, but never goes over it. A very good track I like to sample for my blues music is the track Little Wing by Aynsley Listener. Now, this track right at the start has this electric guitar that can stab the heck out of your ear if you have it way too bright, and it does not do that on this headphone. It has this soft accuracy to the treble. It's the best way I know how to describe it. Strings just sound beautiful and just kind of that silky sound, that dark chocolate color of this headphone that I talked about with that delicacy. The treble has that nice delicacy to it as well on the hi-fi mode. Now, if you do find it to be too piercing, you can engage the bass mode and tilt that, as I said, and that will take that off the top end. Now, stage presence, things like that, it's not overly wide. This is a closed back headphone. It doesn't have any party tricks in that sense. However, the holographic imaging, I think, is very good for this. And so what that means when I'm listening to live recordings and big orchestral arrangements, I can definitely hear things going out and the different instruments and layers that I get. I love that about this headphone. It never felt claustrophobic when I was listening to music, and I was very satisfied with the stage of that. And that's kind of how I want to wrap this up, guys, and just tell you that this is $1,300. You're getting some dark chocolate for a lot of money, and I get that, but they have done a really nice job on the sound quality of this headphone, and that's really what you're purchasing here, because aesthetics and things like that are going to be very subjective. Sound, I get it, is subjective as well, but I think a lot of people are really going to dig the sound of this headphone and think, wow, this is Bluetooth, because even on Bluetooth, I felt like it had an excellent sound, but plugging it in through USB-C or even through analog and turning the power on just really engages some hi-fi moments that I was very, very impressed with. So there you go. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. If so, please smash that like button. Let me know in the comments down below. Would you pay this amount for this headphone? What do you think of this? Have you heard this? I'm always curious to know, guys. I thank you all for watching, and I will see you in the next one.